Hey everybody, my name is Paul Eston Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We are streaming live right now in 3 different places for our New York Jets post-game show. The Jets beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-20, and we're here to talk about it as we are every single week, about 2 hours after every single game. We're streaming live right now in 3 different places. The Heavy on Jets Facebook page. Make sure you show your love. Articles, memes, jokes, and all that fun jazz on Facebook. Again, Heavy on Jets. We're streaming live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/boygreen25, of course. So you guys make sure you like the video and hit subscribe down below for more juicy New York Jets content. And, of course, on my Twitter account, @boygreen25. Follow for all the latest with New York Jets clips, comments, and all kinds of opinions here on the program. Everybody, welcome to the show. And I must remind all of you that this is an interactive program. If you want your participation trophy, then make sure you dive into those comments, baby, and let us know how you're feeling about a juicy, saucy Jets dub. Yes, sir. Back to 2-2 on the season. Back to 500. We're at the watermark. Haven't been here often over the last couple of years at the beginning of the season, so it feels fantastic. The Jets, by the way, as we're going to get into this again, Zach Wilson, the savior, the present, the future at the quarterback position, which is spectacular and fantastic. We're going to talk about that. The return of Elijah Moore and these safeties? Okay. That got me revved up, as it should for each and every one of you. But I think that is an important detail, that if we would have asked each and every one of you Jet fans at home, wherever you're watching right now, and we love you to death, if I would have told you before the year you could be 2-2 on the season going through the AFC North, how many of you would have taken that? And I'll answer the question for you because that's a rhetorical question, Farley. Every single one of us, every single one, would have taken 2-2 before the season. That would have been a phenomenal start to the year. Realistically, of course, because, of course, you had the Baltimore Ravens, who are fantastic. You had the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl. You had the Browns, who, while I didn't think they're going to have Deshaun Watson when the schedule came out for this game, the talent is obvious on this team. That is a Super Bowl caliber roster there. And then you go to Pittsburgh, where, again, it's not your grandpa's Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Steel Curtain. Oh, Franco Harris walking up. I used to walk both ways uphill to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play. Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann. Not your grandpa Steelers. No, sir. While they got a lot of talent on this team, not quite the same. Obviously, with the quarterback issues, and of course, we'll get into that during the game as well, because it was giving me a little bit of those 2018 vibes. Remember, old Tyrod Taylor's in at quarterback. I'm like, all right, we got Tyrod Taylor here. This guy stinks. And all of a sudden, some Baker Mayfield makes his debut. Hugh Jackson lets him in, and we all know what happened. The Browns rode this momentum wave of the quarterback change, and everything went wild. And in this game, leading into it, I was told by multiple Pittsburgh Steeler people that I trust that cover the Steelers for a living. They said, Paul, you don't even have to worry about that because it doesn't matter how bad Mitchell Trubisky is. The Steelers are so far away from a quarterback change than the outside world thinks. Insider Pittsburgh Steelers people were telling me this week. They said, not going to happen. And lo and behold, we get to halftime, and guess what? Old Kenny Pickett comes trotting out. Home crowd's going crazy. The Jets had the momentum up until they blew the end of the first half, and we're like, that could come back to haunt them, and then the Steelers ride that momentum, the quarterback change, everyone's popping, locking, and dropping, and it looks like, oh no, we're going to get that classic story that I just told you I was fearing, where a quarterback comes in, Jets had multiple chances, and they blow it, but guess what? They didn't. This is a new Jets team. This is a different Jets team, and dare I say, not the same old Jets. The same old Jets would have blown this game just like the Jets did in 2018 and like so many other fallen comrades before. They did not. They did not fall. They rose to the moment thanks to the play of their quarterback, Zach Wilson. Welcome back, kid. And guess what? He wasn't perfect. Quite frankly, at times it was hideous, ugly even, for Zach Wilson. Here are the official box score stats. If any of you were looking at the box score after this game and you would have seen this, you would have seen the box score and said, oh, this doesn't look very good whatsoever. But 18 of 36, 50% completion percentage for those counting at home, 252 passing yards, 2 picks, a 59 QBR. I mean, that's disgusting. I'm going to be blunt. That is just gross. However, we don't base games off of box scores. And if we did, those aren't the stats that I'd be looking at. No, sir. What I'd be looking at is the clutch play of one Zach Wilson and what he was able to deliver from that perspective. Because when you dive into those stats, they tell a much different story. What about that game-winning drive where Zach Wilson was 5 for 5 for 57 yards, and of course they scored the touchdown to take the lead? Or perhaps let's grow that scope a little larger. Zach Wilson in the fourth quarter was 10 of 12 for 128 yards and a touchdown, a QBR of 138.9. When it mattered most, Zach Wilson stepped up to the plate. Was he rusty? Of course he was. And guess what? He should be. This dude hasn't played organized football in some time. Now, you can bring up, oh, he just played organized football in the preseason opener. Okay, that barely counts. If you want a true telltale of how long it's been, it was 9 months ago when the Jets season ended in Buffalo, January 9th. Today is October 2nd. This dude hasn't played any level of organized football from that point to this point in terms of actual game live reps. So, of course, he was rusty. But the thing that each and every one of you should have at home before you dive into all the comments and all the other wonderful storylines that I think each one of you should take home to bed tonight when you go to sleep and you lay your head on that juicy pillow. If Zach Wilson was able to do this in the fourth quarter and in the clutch specifically, you should be feeling phenomenal about what more can be had when good days are stacked together, when he gets more reps with these guys. He even joked about it during the week. He's like, sometimes Garrett Wilson jukes me out. It's hard to throw him the football because I don't even know where he's going. And that was a joke with Garrett Wilson's ability to kind of move all over the field, but it was also kind of true because they haven't gotten the necessary reps. He missed all of the joint practices, the majority of training camp. I mean, he missed a significant portion of time. And no wonder he looked a little bit rusty out there. But again, the thing that we should all take away is, wow, he did that. Imagine how much better he's going to get throughout the season. Zach Wilson, absolutely clutch. And it was brilliant. All right, let's dive into the comments again. Wherever you're watching, make sure you show your support. Hit the thumbs up button either on the post or, of course, the video here on YouTube. And hit subscribe for more great Jets content. Jets gang joining us. Jets, Jets. You're damn right. Mike Thomason, LFG. Let's bleep and go. Greg Bubb on Facebook. Jets, keep flying high, baby. You're damn right. Neil Glassman on YouTube. Huge win, Paulie. Who's your game MVP? Zach, I have to say Joyner was a beast. Neil, let's go there before I even give my game ball away, which, by the way, could very well go to the defensive backs because, let's be honest, the Jet safeties have been terrible. Specifically Lamarcus Joyner, but Jordan Whitehead hasn't been much better either. Heading into this game, they had 10 total missed tackles combined between them, and they each allowed 100-plus QBR when targeted in pass coverage. So they sucked in run support, they sucked in pass coverage, and not only were they bad within themselves, but they were bad from a miscommunication standpoint that allowed multiple touchdowns and multiple breakdowns on the back end of the defense. Those boys stepped up to the plate. Lamarcus Joyner, a big play early in the game. I think it was Mitchell Trubisky launched an absolute bomb to George Pickens. Lamarcus Joyner broke it up. Joyner had a pick, of course, on the deflection. You had Jordan Whitehead, who got a pick on the deflection from Joyner to him. Of course, Whitehead also had the interception at the end of the first half, but we all know what happened there. Carl Lawson, a unnecessary roughing the passer. Clearly, Mitchell Trubisky had let the ball go. So Carl Lawson, I don't know if it's frustration because he has been registering a lot of pressures, but he hasn't necessarily been getting to the quarterback. So frustration or what have you, those plays can't happen. And I want to admit this right from the beginning, Neil, that this is a happy show. This is positive, and it should be. The Jets are friggin' 2-2. They came back and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Acrisure Stadium, which, by the way, that's only the second Jets win ever in Pittsburgh. Only the second win all time in Pittsburgh. So this is historic. This is amazing. So I love the fact that we can learn these valuable lessons after a win. So I want to make that clear. However, you can't have these mistakes. The Carl Lawson roughing the passer, that entire flip, because the Jets would have had a 13-3 lead essentially going into halftime. Instead, it was 10-6. It was a 6-point swing and much larger than that in terms of the actual momentum pendulum actually swinging. So that was massive. And the other one was C.J. Mosley. Senseless, stupid. The guy was going down, and C.J. Mosley saw that before he just laid into his back. Another 15-yard penalty. Again, these are the veterans. Carl Lawson is a veteran. He's been around. C.J. Mosley is literally, if you grabbed a dictionary, looked up the definition of veteran, you may find a picture of C.J. Mosley there. So these veterans can't be making these mistakes where they're shooting themselves in the foot. So many of those, and it's great that the Jets were able to overcome that. But to your point, the safeties played spectacular. Both Whitehead and Joyner were great, so they could certainly get the game ball. It's a quarterback-driven league, so Zach Wilson literally orchestrating that final drive. And I got to tell you, there were some moments in the game where I'm like, hey, boy. When Zach Wilson early in the game is doing that one scramble where he's kind of evading rushers, which, again, is what makes him special. So there's only so much you can do. Instead of taking away his superpowers, Robert Saleh calls him, maybe he's just an ordinary guy. But I'm going to be honest, I gasped a couple of times, in particular one where he juked a couple of defenders and threw it away, and then he fell awkwardly. His body was like a pretzel stick, and I'm like, eh. And he gets up, and I'm like, okay, Zach attack, okay, baby, let's get back going. So it was kind of nice to see him get hit a couple of times. You never want to see your quarterback get hit, especially with this offensive line. We'll talk about that, but to see him get hit and get back up, like, okay, he's fine. Like, he's not made of glass. Like, it's fine. And there's a lot of those injury-prone labels flying around after 2 knee injuries in a span of 10 months. So there's a lot going on there. It's a long answer to your question, Neil, but I got to say the safeties played spectacular. Got to give a shout-out, of course, to Zach Wilson. And what about the return of Elijah Moore? The fall of Elijah Moore was greatly exaggerated. I had fans in our comments going, Elijah Moore, not that good. The quote, one guy said that this is why he fell in the draft. What the hell are we talking about, people? I mean, for the love of Pete, Elijah Moore's good. Hashtag analysis there. He had 3 catches for 53 yards, and quite frankly, he could have had more. He was only targeted 4 times in this game. Obviously, there is a natural connection between Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore from last year, of course. Garrett Wilson, that's going to come with time. Garrett Wilson was pretty good, too. 2 catches, 41 yards, but again, more opportunities. He also had 6 targets in the game. And, of course, tip of the cap, Corey Davis, a guy that's been much maligned by the fan base. There's been some trade rumors floating around. We've talked about that on Heavy on Jets. He leads the team in both catches, yards, and, of course, the touchdown, which was a beautiful route. I mean, just spectacular, where he faked it inside, whips back in, beautiful, and an easy walk-in touchdown, which, of course, was key, in the comeback. So 5 catches, 74 yards, a touchdown, 14.8 per clip. And a lot of just tough catches, the 4th down conversion, the touchdown. He was just there. And a great redemption game, of course, for Corey Davis. So there's a lot of love to go around, and rightfully so. And Breece Hall, for that matter, that boy is this close to becoming the lead guy in the backfield, if he isn't already. He had 17 carries for 66 yards. Michael Carter still there in 9 carries, but not nearly as effective. 15 yards, 1.7 per clip. And, of course, Breece Hall had the touchdown at the end to take the lead. So, and he was targeted heavily in the passing game. 2 catches for 12 yards, but was targeted 6 times. Again, a couple of those drops that still kind of concern you a little bit. He's a youngster. He's got to figure it out. But if I had to give the game ball to anyone, I think it has to go to the safeties, Neil. It's a quarterback-driven league, so Zach Wilson makes sense, and he's the headliner of this video. But I think the safeties just wowed me, and they were key, of course, in this win. But great stuff, Neil, as we're kind of walking us through the game. Destiny, keep up the good work. Appreciate it, Destiny. Thanks for chiming in. Really appreciate it. Keep it coming on the comments, everybody. Again, this is an interactive program. Feel free. Also, if you guys are on YouTube, feel free to use the YouTube Super Chat feature where you throw a little tip in my tin can and it guarantees your comment gets answered here on the show. Again, I try to get to everybody, but of course, that guarantees that your comment gets answered, shows support for the show as well. Again, that option available on the YouTube. All right, let's go to Patrick Lee Jennings. Zach had a bad 17 minutes, but the rest he looked good. In the 4th quarter, he was fire. Why don't we trade Mims for some offensive line help? Easier said than done, of course, Patrick, but the one trade that I think has intrigued both sides potentially is over there in Chicago. Tevin Jenkins, the young draft pick that I believe has been playing guard most recently with the Bears, but obviously he has some tackle flexibility. That could be an option, and again, something to consider. Max Mitchell, of course, if you guys missed it during the game, it looked bad, looked like a bad injury. He had to get carted off the field. He was in the locker room with a brace on his leg and crutches. No update from Robert Saleh. They said they'll get that tomorrow on Monday. We'll get Robert Saleh's presser there and give you guys the latest. I'm going to be honest, does not look good. And that would be the fourth, count it, fourth starting tackle to go on IR, if that is indeed the case. Remember, Mekhi Becton out for the season. You have George Fant, who was just recently placed on IR, so he has to miss a minimum of 3 more games, if not more, potentially. You have Dwayne Brown. He is eligible to come off IR next week, so there's some hope that maybe he could step into the starting lineup, which would be nice. And then whatever happens here with Max Mitchell. I will say that, and I got to take a huge L here, fans. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't think it was going to happen, and quite frankly, it didn't happen until the doomsday scenario. If you guys missed it, Elijah Vera Tucker, left tackle to start the game, and Robert Saleh, after in the postgame presser, said, "Sorry guys, I had to keep that from you." So that was the plan. Let me flip over the notebook to make sure I give you guys the right starting combination. So we had Elijah Vera Tucker at left tackle, which, by the way, played at USC. Laken Tomlinson left guard. Connor McGovern center. Nate Herbig off the bench, replacing AVT at right guard. And then Max Mitchell to start the game. Again, Elijah Vera Tucker had some rough moments there. Again, naturally speaking, this is a guy who was playing left guard last year, looking pretty good. Had to flip over to right guard to acquiesce to Laken Tomlinson coming in. Now more injuries at left tackle. They're like, you know what? Let's put AVT over there. And I got to be honest. He had some good moments. He had some bad moments. We'll have to wait to rewatch the All-22 tape. But I'll tell you this, that, all things considered, I like the Jets' mentality to not put Connor McDermott on the field, and they tried. And then the Mitchell injury happened. They had no other choice but to put McDermott in there at right tackle. He had some bad moments early, the penalties and other things of that nature, but he did stabilize in the second half of the game. We'll see what happens. Of course, the Jets did sign 2 veteran tackles last week that could potentially step up to the plate, so we'll kind of keep an eye there. Oh, yeah, Mike Remmers, of course, and also Big Sed, as Robert Saleh calls him, a former first-rounder of the Cincinnati Bengals. So more offensive line shuffling to be done, but the thing you like is, of course, Zach Wilson's mobility. He helps certainly with some of the offensive line issues, and hopefully that unit can kind of stabilize here, and we'll keep you posted on Dwayne Brown. But to your point, Patrick, it's possible, again, the trade to watch out for that a lot of people have been speculating about is Denzel Mims for Tevin Jenkins, some level of a swap-a-rooney there. We'll keep you posted if anything develops from that standpoint. All right, everybody, we're here on the Jets postgame show. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying it. A dub. Jets win 24-20, a nice comeback, which is always nice. Jets scored 14 points in the fourth quarter to come back again. They scored the 10 early, and then, of course, Pittsburgh scores 20 unanswered, and then the Jets respond with 14 unanswered themselves, which is great. I just got to say here that there was a lot of moxie showed by this Jets team because, to be honest, everything fell apart at the end of the first half, and we talked about it. Again, Zach Wilson had a horrible throw. Bad decision by Mike LaFleur. Don't let that slip away. It was on both of them. Like, dude, just run the ball on 3rd and long and then take the 13-3 lead. Take the field goal. Take the 2-score lead. So they got a little cute there, and it cost them, and then cost them again when old Chris Boswell banked in a nice, juicy, long field goal that initially had that 3-point lead as we're going on that game-winning drive. So keep that all in mind. However, the Jets were able to overcome that. The atmosphere was raucous over there. Kenny Pickett coming in, again, the local kid, Pittsburgh, that's where he played his games with Pitt football. So a lot to dissect there for certain. Braden NCL, loved the guts on display. 4 turnovers. Nice job, Joyner and company. I kind of said it going into the game that, man, the Jets just have not just gotten lucky, so to speak. The Joyner, first interception. Nice tip right to him. Beautiful. Nice. There's an interception. You could call it luck or whatever you want to on the double team on Chase Claypool where Joyner tips it to Jordan Whitehead. You get that other interception, which is juicy. Michael Carter was another tip, of course, when you look at that one, which was nice. And then there was other opportunities. A special teams fumble. I think too many Jets were trying to scoop and score as opposed to dive on it. Could have been more turnovers. But again, great job giving your offense short fields to work with. And you got to hook a brother up when Zach Wilson is, again, had a 9-month layoff, essentially. But, excuse me. Between regular season action, help a brother out, and the defense certainly did that. You'd love to see the defense respond in the way that they did. I was really impressed. Really impressed. Let's go to Roger on Facebook. Overall, I think the Jets played really well. I don't think they look bad. It'll take a while for things to gel. Yeah, there were moments throughout the game, in particular, again, at the end of that second quarter and the third quarter, where things are looking a little questionable. Again, the Jets have performed very poorly in the third quarter in 2022, and historically recently, but nonetheless, they were able to overcome it. Paul Christensen, again, no update on Max Mitchell, but the update that I do have for you is he had a brace on his leg, had crutches in the locker room. Saleh, no update after. They're going to do some tests. We should hear on that tomorrow morning. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Barry, O-line wasn't great and a few bad drops. Second interception was a tip pass. Yes, it was, of course. That has to be mentioned on the Zach Wilson one. It was a little high to Tyler Conklin, but you hit you in the hands. It has to be caught. So again, the Conklin thing with a couple of fumbles. Now that interception does not look great, but Conklin has had some production, but more things have to happen there. Yeah, the first interception was on Zach. That was bad, but the second one was a tip. That should be as well. Let's go to Cy here. Garrett was pissed. He dropped that ball 100%. And I want to make sure this is perfectly clear. I like that Garrett Wilson gets upset with himself, and he's basically his own harshest critic as it comes to the drops. However, the drops just can't keep happening, man. You're a top 10 pick in the draft. Like, that just can't be like, well, it's a drop. He has those. No, he's a receiver. His job is to catch the football. So, Garrett, I love you, man. You make a lot of great plays, but you got to figure it out, man. No more of these simple drops. You're hurting the team. And fortunately, in some of these scenarios where drops happen, the team's been able to overcome it. But help a brother out, help a team. That's becoming a professional. Gregory on YouTube. Great to see Zach get the dub in his first game back. Corey Davis absolutely balled out today. By the way, 100% he did. I really love what I saw from Corey Davis. He was a stud. Loved all the contested catches for sure. Oh, wow. Congratulations, Cy. This is my very first Jet game to see live in Pittsburgh. I love it, Cy. That's amazing. I'm glad you got that opportunity. I've seen a bunch. I've been very fortunate, very lucky. I used to live down south in a military family, so we moved around all over the place. So I didn't have, obviously, many opportunities to see the New York Jets until we moved here in 2008. So I've seen a handful. Bengals, Bills, Seahawks. This year, even we went to the Ravens game. So I've seen a handful. I've been very fortunate. I've seen some good ones. The Jets Cowboys one was a good one with Sam Darnold. There's been some good ones. There's nothing like seeing it in person for sure. And man, now we get week 5. Juices is flowing, and really, this is where the Jets really need to respond. I don't want to look ahead yet. We're going to get opportunities to do so, and make sure you guys on the YouTube channel, we're going to have a Jets-Dolphins interview coming up this week. Breaking that game down again, week 5, back at home. Dolphins lost on Thursday Night Football, and then the 2 injury, very scary there. So a Dolphins 3-1 team comes in. Jets 2-2 have a chance to kind of tie up things in the division there. Buffalo getting a big win in Baltimore. Baltimore seemingly blew that as opposed to Buffalo seizing it, but nonetheless, Buffalo there as well. So they're 3-1. So another talented football team, but a lot of opportunity, of course, for the Jets to make some noise, and that's what you want to see. But a home game, week 5 Dolphins. And let's talking about droughts and streaks and things of that nature. The Jets haven't won a divisional game in over 2 years. It's about time to get that done. And they'll have their first whack at the proverbial piñata at home in week 5, Jets-Dolphins. I've already seen, by the way, the Dolphins take over MetLife. I know a lot of Dolphins fans that are coming up from Miami. So Jets faithful, you got to show up strong, and we'll see what happens there. Charles M. on YouTube. Despite his mistakes today, the main takeaway today is the poise and resilience that Zach showed today. The boy wonder looks the part. That's the thing that got me, is that it would have been very easy to fold like a used lawn chair in multiple moments throughout that contest for Zach Wilson, but he overcame that and delivered some of those wow throws, whether it was in the first half to Elijah Moore, which was really nice, the Tyler Conklin throw, the Corey Davis throw, and he just hit. He did what a quarterback's supposed to do, and he made plays, and that to me is something to be able to build on. Braden, I tweeted this during the game. Quinnen Williams is going to get paid. He's going to get, one more time, paid. Oh, my. What a disruptor. I mean, that whack he gave Kenny Pickett. I know Pat Freiermuth got to the 1-yard line, but, man, Quinnen Williams is just disruptive, man. And basically, throughout the entire game, they had a 4-man rush. Occasionally, there was some blitzes, but those didn't really work out that well. But, man, the 4-man rushes, dedicating it to that seemed to make a huge difference. And, man, Quinnen friggin' Williams, man, woo-wee, he's going to get paid this offseason, and rightfully so. He was cooking. I love Quinnen, man. Love Q. I love to see it. And got another sack today. Throw that on the ledger. Mike Thomason, CJ looked bad today. Whether it's Uzama or Mosley, I'll assume Mosley here, Mike. He had some moments where he wasn't looking that hot. And a couple of them, he missed the tackle on the outside. I think that was Najee Harris. Like, man, you just got to figure it out. Those were there were some bad moments there for sure. I just hate that. Jets gang. Jets never throw a quick passes, slant screens, help all line out, and stop running on first down every drive. Yeah, a couple of those were like 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. They ran, and I get it in theory. You make it a 3rd and manageable, but you put Zach Wilson in too many 3rd and longs today. That's not a position to succeed. I will say some of those demons from Zach's pass, which obviously the accuracy had 50% completion percentage in this game. He missed a couple of gimmies. Garrett Wilson was wide open. He missed him. Breece Hall had a wheelish route similar to the Joe Flacco one. He just kind of skipped at his feet. Like, Zach Wilson has to get his feet set and throw the friggin' football. So some of the accuracy issues were still there. But, yeah, you got to fix that. So I thought they actually called some of those, but Zach Wilson missed some. But you can never have enough. I don't like the predictable 1st and 10 runs all the time. I think that's a little gross. Cy Thompson, got a beer thrown at me when Breece scored. I just smiled and said, feel better, LOL. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we bring this up? I'm going to bring up a tweet. I don't know if you guys saw this after the game. Probably not. So I just want to throw this one out there. And it just it kind of bothers me. It doesn't kind of. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here in case you guys missed it. After the game, Minka Fitzpatrick, who's a dynamic playmaker, you can't say enough good things about Minka Fitzpatrick. He was asked about the loss, and I'm throwing it up on the screen here. And that's my response. Boy, eat that L. But here's Minka Fitzpatrick after the game. It's frustrating losing to people that you're better than, more talented than, especially when you have the team that we have. I think we are way better than that and than what we've been putting on display. End quote. My only thing is this. Just suck it, Minka. Suck it, pal. You know what? Take your L and stop being so goddamn salty. I mean, come on, people. That's dude, get a life, pal. We're better than them. Look at the scoreboard, pal. Look at the scoreboard. You lost. Take the L and go home. And by the way, has anyone seen the Steelers schedule coming up? Yikes. So they're 1-3 right now. Here's who the Steelers have coming up. They travel to Buffalo. Loss. At home, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Loss. At Miami on Sunday Night Football. Loss. At Eagles. Loss. Where the hell is the savior coming for the Steelers team? They're toast. And I just want to be honest, it feels phenomenal that they're the ones who have their tail tucked between their legs going, oh, man, we lost the Jets. Now what? Now you're going to suck. That's what. So, Minka, eat it, pal. No, sir. Absolute garbaggio from Minka Fitzpatrick. What a loser. What a loser thing to say. Anywho, I digress. But let's see. Brian Farrell here. Corey Davis showed up in the clutch. Safety showed up all day. You bet they did. I loved it. Charles M. As messy as the win was, it shows us the kind of talent this team has. With all the blunders, they still managed to pull out the dub. That's the thing, again, Charles, I keep going back to that is incredibly encouraging. Zach Wilson didn't play well. There was a lot of mistakes throughout the contest, yet they pulled out the win. If they could pull out the win when circumstances aren't ideal, just imagine when things are ideal, how much more they can do. That should be absolutely spectacular. Chris KV on the 5th, rather. Chris K the 5th. Still nothing from Uzama, but Conklin looked good. He sure did. And again, for those who don't know what a YouTube Super Chat is, it's a different colored comment. Again, you can throw a tip in my jar if you like what you're hearing, if you want to support the show. And also, I want to make a quick mention, of course, right here on Heavy on Jets, my YouTube channel and Twitter. We're streaming live in 3 different places right now. That not every video I do can go on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page. So if you're watching us on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page, hop on over to YouTube. Again, youtube.com/BoyGreen25 for all kinds of content. We do weekly breakdowns. Insider guest Will Parkinson joins me every Monday. We've had Connor Hughes on, Zach Rosenblatt, beat reporters. Tyler Conklin's joined us a few times. So we've had players and all kinds of great insight. If you guys want the full experience, make sure you go to YouTube and hit that bell notification so you never miss an episode. Chris K, thank you so much, which again, you threw a little tip in the jar. Appreciate it. But Conklin did look good. Outside of the tip that ended up being a pick, very nice job on the cell block that gave us the free completion. I think ultimately here, let me get up the stats here. Tyler Conklin's been great. 3 catches, 52 yards. Again, the production from the tight end position, I'm going to be blunt, is not something I am familiar with. But nonetheless, it was nice. Thanks, Chris. Let's see. J.E. LaFleur's play calling was very questionable at times, 100%. And again, I don't understand the wishy-washy nature. How can he just call a good game, like Cleveland's a good example, even though things didn't always go well? Like, the play calls I got. Like, I understood the play calls. Like, and then he just goes off and has these weird play calls where, again, at the end of the first half, like, Michael Floyd, what are you doing? Are you just getting too cute? Did you let your son play caller for a drive? Like, what the hell, man? It's just the lack of understanding from the variety in the play calling seems weird. I don't really know what else to call it. It was just really strange. Let's see. Charles M. Zach throws a lot harder than Flacco. Probably will take another game or so for the receivers to adjust. That's for sure. And also, Zach himself has to adjust. Like, not every ball is a fireball coming off a rocket launcher. Like, situational football is important. A nice soft touch pass here or there. Like, when a soft touch pass is necessary versus a fireball. Like, I need to get in this tight window. The only way I could get it in there is firing it in there at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So there has to be touch. That's an evolution for Zach Wilson as well. But yes, again, just in general, they're going to gel with the more reps they get together. I mean, Garrett Wilson was pretty about that throughout it. Chris K. the Fifth. Are we starting to see some complimentary football out there? Offense, obviously a little slow, but I could see some light down the tunnel. 100%, Chris. And thank the Lord Almighty. I think it was DJ Reed who said that after the Browns win, where he said, we won this game and we didn't even play complimentary football. To the locker room, it's like a message. Imagine what will happen when we do. And again, we saw what didn't happen in the Bengals game and then this one. Again, you got to help each other out. There's going to be days, spoiler alert, where the offense isn't firing on all cylinders, or the defense isn't, or special teams isn't, and the other units have to, what good football teams do is pick up the pieces, they rise on up, and they support each other. And that's what we saw, again, to your point, Chris, of some complimentary football. And it felt good, man. It just felt good to see that, of them helping out each other. So we will see how that continues to develop. Jets gang. Sauce needs to start covering teams' best wide receiver. Pickens was way too tall for Reed. Again, situationally, Sauce has, by the way, he traveled with Mark Andrews. He traveled with Jamar Chase a little bit. And although there is still a little bit of the islands because they trust both of them, you could say the same thing when Michael Carter, I think, was on George Pickens for that 1 3rd down conversion. Again, naturally, not every time Sauce can be on the tallest, lankiest guy. Like, in a perfect world, you want him to be. But situationally, that's going to have to happen. And again, DJ Reed plays better and bigger than his size is, and the same thing for Michael Carter II. So, and to be honest, I don't think Pickens was their best receiver. Deontay Johnson has a little bit more chutzpah. Chase Claypool is massive at 6'4". So when you play a team like that, that's got all that size, at a certain point, you got to kind of shrug your shoulders and say, well, we got to do the best that what we could do with Jets. But I hear what you're saying. Let's see. Tyler Gordon on Facebook. Other than the O-line, the main thing they have to clean up is the terrible penalties that shoot themselves in the foot when they make a solid play. 100%. I mean, some of those were absolutely backbreaking, to be honest with you, Tyler, and frustrating, to be honest with you. As we look, let's see what the final penalties were in this one. Jets finished with, 7 for 64, rather. Steelers had 8 for 55. But it's even beyond sometimes the number. It's the situations, Tyler, that you mentioned, where sometimes they're just hitting at the perfectly wrong time for the Jets. A big play happens and boom. A good example, by the way, is Michael Carter on the touchdown. Remember, Michael Carter scores a touchdown, but he didn't because he leaned forward. An insignificant penalty in terms of the grand scheme. It's not like, that's the reason he scored, but like, that's a perfect example. You just have to play with a level of discipline. Now, ultimately, as we know, the Jets score anyway, Corey Davis touchdown, but man, you can't take points off the board if you want to win football games. I mean, plain and simple, Tyler. So you nailed it there. Absolutely. You nailed it. Let's keep going here. We got a Jay Nagel. Too many runs on first down is not a good idea with this offensive line. I think it's less about the offensive line just in general. You don't just want to be predictable. And it seems like all the time, outside of rare exceptions, they run the ball on 1st and 10. Like, if I'm saying it's predictable as a random fan in the stands, I'm sure the other NFL team is like, seems pretty predictable. So they really need to be even better than that. David, with a refresher on the stat we said earlier, Zach didn't play well, but fourth quarter on the line, 10 for 12, 128 yards, 138 QBR. That is correct. Zach Wilson absolutely balled out when he needed to. And again, hopefully in the future, he's just balling out all the time in general. But 100%, the clutch level of play is what should be encouraging to each and every one of you that are out there with Zach Wilson. I thought that was great. Also, mini rant here. I had it on my notes. I want to make sure that I get to it. wide receivers running short of the sticks. What the hell, man? If it's 3rd and 6, run your route to 3rd and 7. What are we doing? People, for the love of everything that's holy. Garrett Wilson did that once. Up 4th and 1. Sorry, only got 6 there. Well, why are you only getting 6? Run past the sticks, man. Go get a first. It's just an absolute pet peeve of mine. It's like my grinding my gear segment. Why the hell are you running short of the sticks? Go make a friggin' play out there, man. So I just had that on my notes here. Wanted to make sure I got that. Happened way too many times in this game, which I don't like. Also, another one for you counting at home. This was the first Jets lead since the 22 seconds of that Browns game. And again, for a while, remember they had the 10-0 lead. They had quite the lead for a while. So, okay, booyah. Nice. Very nice. You love seeing that for the first time in a while. A couple other just random notes I want to make sure that I get in here. I'll get into some more of your comments here. Quan Alexander just brings juice to this team. Again, Quincy Williams, the older brother of Quinnen, did not play in this game. Again, with the ankle sprain. We'll see when he comes back. But with him stepping out, Quan Alexander has gotten more reps, so has Marcel Harris. And I got to say, Quan just brings a juice, man. He is electric. He lays the lumber, and it's infectious to his teammates in a way that Quincy is, but he's a more refined player, more experience as a starter, a guy that's been around the block, and I love what Quan Alexander brings to the table. He just brings some juice, some chutzpah, if I may, which you really like. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but the return of Elijah Moore, again, he has a familiarity, a connective tissue with Zach Wilson, and he's going to only continue to explode. I'm really excited for what more can come with Elijah Moore. The Zach Wilson, of course, the Zach Wilson interception streak, it dated all the way back to last year. He had 172 consecutive passes without a pick. That drought, of course, ended at the end of the first half and then ended again because he had 2 picks in a span of like 20 passes, something of that nature. Again, the second one obviously wasn't his fault, but nonetheless, Zach Wilson, that's another part of the game that you just got to refine. Ultimately, though, overall, again, we're somewhat nitpicking here with a lot of that, but that is certainly something as well. And we mentioned the end of the first half as well. But again, they overcame it, which you gotta love. Again, up next for the New York Jets is a Week 5 home game against the Miami Dolphins. 3-1 Dolphins, 2-2 Jets. Let's roll it out and see what happens. The Dolphins, by the way, have been kicking the Jets patookie, quite frankly, in terms of this quote-unquote rivalry lately. And it seems like Jet fans in general have had a lot of excuses as to why that's the case. You just got to go out and try to win the football game. Now, I'm not a doctor, but likely you're going to see Teddy Bridgewater, who is a former Jets quarterback in Week 5 outside of Tua, magically, of course, being cleared for this game. I would imagine not. It was a very scary scene. You saw the fencing response, which was the hands that you saw on Thursday Night Football. That is a common case from some level of a serious brain injury there. From that perspective. So very scary there from Tua. Again, he had to be stretchered off the field. Super scary. Can't say that enough. Although the update from Thursday Night Football was he was able to leave the hospital and return on the flight home with the Miami Dolphins. That seems kind of weird because I don't believe you're supposed to be traveling on a plane when you have a concussion, but that's different strokes, different folks there, I guess. But some of their handling has just been odd in general. But I will say, that looking ahead to this Dolphins game just quickly, and then we'll get to all the rest of your questions and comments. Again, wherever you're watching, again, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and throw your comments in there. Celebrate the Jets win. Do you have questions, topics that you want to make sure are covered? Make sure that you share those. But Teddy Bridgewater in general, he is a guy that is not going to take a lot of risks. He's Teddy check down is how he's remembered. So the Jets are going to have to mind their P's and Q's, especially with a lot of the zone coverage that they play. The Teddy could just simply take what's there. The Jets have to get there, of course, with their 4-man rush, which will be a theme, of course, throughout the season. But Teddy Bridgewater, ex-Jets quarterback, likely the guy that's going to be in there at quarterback for the Dolphins, again, coming up in Week 5. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Modine. Zach pulled it out, but he also pulled it out against the Titans. Everyone was flying high then too. Let's see the consistency that follows. That will be important. Again, the response. And I've said this before that historically speaking, after the Jets have gotten wins, they have not responded well to the success. And hopefully with the win-loss nature of the season that it's been so topsy-turvy, again, putting two together, and then apparently, and especially against this Miami Dolphins team that had been playing so well, would be very special. It would be special, and really, if you're at 3-2, 5 weeks in, then you have the tough back-to-back road trips to Denver and to Green Bay. Russell Wilson looked like he was picking it up the last time I checked, and then Green Bay. Obviously, they have Aaron Rodgers. He's pretty good. And then there's the LaFleur, solid connection, all that stuff. Again, things are going to get a lot tougher, so they got to mind their P's and their Q's. Let's keep going here. We got Andrew here at a Jets game at a Jet bar in South Florida. Stupid penalties got us. A lot of stupid ones, and I'm not even going to blame the officials. The Jets just really blew it on a lot of those. A lot of those. Again, the refs were also, it can sometimes be questionable, but this is not one where I'm pointing at the refs. The Jets just got to do a better job. Let's see. Jets gang. Zach played good for me to overcome the LaFleur play calling. Wide receiver drop balls. Offensive line can't block. Yes, I don't want to make like excuses for Zach. Again, he had the bad pick at the end of the first half, but overall, again, he played clutch, and that's what you want to see from your young quarterback. And Tyler, you said the same thing. The wideouts not getting past the sticks on third down drive me insane this game. 100%. Too often that was the case. Let's go to the Highlander Prime. Great name. I think the team is still gelling. That's why the rookie mistakes are not running routes beyond the first down marker. That's a fair point, Highlander Prime, but it's not just the youngsters. Like Corey Davis has done it before. So it's kind of, a greater, it's just a rant to everybody. Like, hey, run the routes past the sticks. I mean, that's what we want to see. Yes, Andrew Whitehead made a few plays. That was good. He got the pick, and also should have had the second pick at the end of the first half on the Hail Mary. So very nice. JC Jet fan, Boy Green, we got that win, brother. Yes, we did. And by the way, I want to throw this up on the screen because, this is something I want to bring back. I don't have to be the sole reason that this is brought back, but I do want to do my part to bring this back because apparently it has gone away. And why has it gone away? I have absolutely no idea. But of course, we have to play this on the show. And I hope some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. At the end of a Jets win today, in today's day and age, they go, Jets on 3, 1, 2, 3, Jets. And that's a fine, little thing to have after the game. But tell me if any of you guys remember this. I tweeted it out, which again, you should always follow me on Twitter at BoyGreen25. What about these days? Why did that go away? Does anybody know that? And the home of the Jets. Like that. Like, okay, baby. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get a little bit of that chutzpah going on. That just revs my engine. So I'm going to start tweeting that out. I have that clip saved in the phone. I'm going to be tweeting that out after every Jets dub, baby. And let's get it going. Let's try to rev it back up. And the home of the Jets. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Even when you're on the road, it doesn't matter. Like, you make it happen. Make things happen. Edward, oh please, we were 2-2. Again, there's going to be some fans, and that's fine. It won't damper my mood, and I hope it doesn't damper anyone else's mood in here that some are saying, we're 2-2, what's the big deal? The Jets, historically speaking, have been so bad to start seasons of the last bunch of years, 0-3, 0-4. Again, the September drought up until the Jets broke it against Cleveland, that had been 13 straight, I believe, was the number. Now I don't have to worry about it because the Jets won, so it's not a drought anymore. But, like, come on, man. Like, they had not won in forever, which means that you started all these seasons in massive holes, and fans are like, who are we picking in the draft? Like, we don't have to do that at 2-2. I think that's the thing that I think we should all enjoy. VR Helldaga, Minka Sour Grapes, about that L, and I love it 100%. Suck it, Minka. Anywho. Modine, Minka saying Steelers are more talented. Steelers stink, a Jets struggle, guns on the win. Trubisky's really number 2 quarterback, pick at number 3. They have no starter. No, they don't. But again, like, I just think that's a really crappy thing to say after a game. Like, we know we're better than them. Well, you lost, so you just sound salty. Like, it is what it is. And you're going to get if that's what you want to say, then fine. You're just going to catch a lot of L's on social media. But are the Steelers more talented? I don't know. All I know is they got the win. They got the dub. Eat the W, baby. That's what they got. The Lord PT69. Unleash our young players. Love the show. LFG, baby. And thank you so much again. The YouTube super chat, a little tip in the can, and appreciate your support for the program. The Lord PT69. Absolutely beautiful. And it's great seeing the young players. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. How about a shout out to him? Huh? Jermaine Johnson on the sack. Rip around. Booyah. Jermaine Johnson making some noise. You gotta love it. Charles M. on YouTube. Next week is a big test for this team. It's been a long time since consecutive wins. A very long time. It's not as long as you think, actually. It's 2020. The Jets, when they were winless and then they randomly won back-to-back games that season, that was the last time that they won. I unfortunately know that off the top of my head because I was recently looking for other stats and things of that nature. So it hasn't been as long as you think, but in a legitimate sense of winning back-to-back games when it matters, it's been a very long time. Let's go to Chris K. the 5th. I would like to see a bit more power run and less of the zone stuff. Also got to chill with the gadget plays. That crazy motion play to Moore was a lot of work for just a small few yards. Chris, it's going to happen. I think, and then the Zach Wilson run, remember, where he threw it to Michael Carter, he threw it behind, and Zach Wilson, fortunately, just kind of got lucky and scooped the ball and threw it out of bounds. Zach could have been a terrible play, but the plays work. Like Zach Wilson became, by the way, history in the making, the first Jets quarterback to ever catch a touchdown. Booyah. Okay, that was cool. And then hit the gritty on him. I was like, oh, okay, hitting the gritty. All right. My old ass could still hit the gritty at 29. Booyah. Yeah, I'm hip. Oh, yeah, baby. Boom. Hit that gritty. That was nice. Good content, baby. Good content. Gadget plays are going to happen, and I'm not opposed to sprinkling that in, but I just think you have to be selective when you're using it because obviously the touchdown everyone loves. So on the other side, you have to take some of the good with the bad. But again, selectively speaking. VR Heldago going against Teddy B, going to be full circus type stuff. I don't know if that's going to be quite that crazy because again, he was kind of really only on the team for a handful of months. They signed him and then, they traded him. So I don't know if it's going to be quite that bad, but there will be some stories and naturally so. Braden, Pats, Packers, all tied up 24 minutes left, or 24-24, 6 minutes left. Again, I just got to say this in general because I've only seen snippets of the game. I had to write my post-game story, which is up on Heavy on Jets. So it's kind of jumping back and forth. So I haven't seen much of the game yet. I'm going to catch up on all the tape after the fact. But I'm going to be honest, like the Patriots had Brian Hoyer in there. Apparently I heard he got hurt. So Bailey Zappi, this unknown rookie, comes in. And Aaron Rodgers is giving this kind of effort at home against I don't know if it's more Packers or Patriot, but I had Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy team. He had negative points at halftime. Like, dude, what the hell, man? Come on, man. Freaking Patriots. Blah. Anywho, I digress. Oh, I just got to say, quick side note, the Jets better beat the Patriots this year. When they do, that's going to feel like some demons have been conquered when the Jets beat the Patriots. I know they're not your Tom Brady Patriots. I don't give a flying hoot. I just can't. I want to beat the Patriots so friggin' bad. Talk about droughts and streaks. Patriots have won 20 of the last 22 and all those other stats. Those are all real. Like, it's about time we slap around the Patriots. Ooh, I'd love nothing more. I'm about to be heading to New England this weekend for a little mini vacation. Ooh, I want to give him the business. Anywho, I digress. DJ Reed is a baller and a leader. I love it, Frank. He absolutely is. This is great. He's cool. I love DJ Reed. He's way better than I thought. I'm going to be honest. The Jets were, for those who forgot, they were sniffing around a lot of water. Stephon Gilmore was a popular name. J.C. Jackson, they were flirting with. There's another big corner I'm forgetting, but they kind of flirted with a lot of names and seemingly, quote unquote, settled on this guy named DJ Reed, where everyone's like, DJ Reed, who the hell is DJ Reed? And this smallish corner that they're like, oh, must be a slot guy. And they're like, no. He's a smaller corner, but he's a boundary corner. They're like, oh, really? Interesting. And so he's been spectacular, better than I could have hoped for sure. Let's see. Modine. I wouldn't mind a win like this if the Jets were a team that for the most part won 10 games a season, but Jets have always won games and it never ended with anything. So Mo, you either believe or you don't believe. And, for some, they're going to have to wait to see it first, and that's fine. Frank, McDaniel is a very good coach. Yeah, I like Mike McDaniel. I get that some of his stuff is a little weird, like in a game of adults that they have a player of the – apparently they had this during the summer. They had a player of the – practice player of the week. He wore an orange jersey and picked like the music. I don't know. That kind of stuff seems childish to me, but whatever, I guess. So he's kind of weird, but obviously it's his weird has worked. So I got to give him a tip of the cap for that. So it is what it is. Let's see. Charles M. If Tua values his brain, he shouldn't play another game this year. I'm not sure it'll quite go that far, Charles, but I mean, again, the fact that he came back in the second half against the Bills is disgusting. And then to play 4 days later is just beyond me. You know what you get into. I'm a former football player, and unfortunately, I've had more concussions than I'd like to admit. But I'm going to be honest. He shouldn't have been back in that game. I'll just leave it at that. Randia. Reed has been everything you could hope for and more. Again, he is way better than I could have possibly expected. Is this a Raiders fan? Anthony Paul, all luck. Yeah, boy. Okay, people say that about the Cleveland game. They'll say this about this game. Jets won the game, and they stepped up to the plate and made it happen. So, let's see. Modine, I want to win a Super Bowl, not 5 or 6 games. One win against a sucky Pitt team doesn't get me excited. Well, Mo, I'll just tell you this. How do you eat an elephant? I love telling people this. 1 bite at a time, baby. 1 bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. So how do you go to the Super Bowl? You win 1 game at a time. The Jets didn't pick who they play and when they play them. Pitt was a crappy team. They beat them. They beat the Browns. Now let's see what they do against Week 5 against the Dolphins. So a win's a win. That's how I take it. Let's see. VR Heldago. When was the last time we could say we were better than the Steelers? I'm just saying, day by day. Amen. Pittsburgh, title town, and Steel City, and all these other terms, 6 Super Bowls, all this stuff. Going in Pittsburgh, Sauce said it after the game, Road Warriors, 2-0 on the road. You love to see it. Now at home, not really happening there, but hey, you got to turn it around. Let's keep going here. We'll go for another 9 minutes here, folks. So any of your comments, send them in. We'll be on for an hour, 60 minutes. So send in all your comments. I'll try to get you as many of them as possible. Let's see. Zach's first game back. What a great lesson for him on his way to end this season. Live and learn. Let's go. I love learning from a loss or a win, baby. That makes it a lot better. Who let the Steelers fan in here? I don't know. Who's our filter system? We need to get our production team on that. Let's be honest. Let's get the old promo team on that. Modine, now go back to you. I want the Jets to beat good teams. Steelers are depleted. Jets beat a team that will finish last in their division. I just wish they wouldn't have struggled so much. Again, nothing is easy in the NFL. That's what I would say to you, Mo. There's a reason they say any given Sunday. People look at the Jets like the team that, we should run through them. Again, until you change that narrative, you got to make it happen. So that's it. Richard Martinez, Board Green, we're in a good spot to make some moves. I'm not sure what moves you're talking about in terms of the season. Yeah, I mean, 2-2, you're in a really good spot. If you're talking about like offensive line or free agency, I'm not quite sure they're going to go do anything crazy. But in general, at 2-2, yeah, they can make some moves. Randia, it feels good to snatch victory from the Jaws' defeat. 100%, 100%. It feels a lot better to be in that realm, because it could have easily, if you were watching a game, you could have easily seen, I could see how the Jets can lose this one, and they didn't. Roy Cohn, how badly injured is a rookie tackle? Again, no official update from the Jets, but again, he was on crutches in the locker room with a brace on the leg. Not great. And he had to be carted off the field, of course. Let's go back to the Highlander Prime. Some are saying Zach had a bad game. I think he had a good game considering the circumstance of the win. I honestly expected a worse game from him, as did I. And again, the clutch moments is really what makes me feel good about it, to be blunt, and makes me feel good about the future. So people could say that with the final box score, but if they watch a game, they don't feel that way. The Lord PT 69. Jermaine needs to play 80% of the snaps. I don't believe that's ever going to happen to that level, especially with the rotation, but he has to play more, I think, for sure. Jay Spector, Boy Green, what up? Finally saw Zach earn his number 2 pick. Yeah, I wrote it in my piece that we saw the flashes that made him the number 2 pick, and of course in a win. So it doesn't have to be those moral cookies like, wow, he really looked spectacular in the loss. He really tried really hard out there. No, he got the win in the clutch when it mattered most. I think that's the thing that gets us excited. It's just great. Well, let me go back up to that one real quick. Like I said, I'll try to go rapid fire here. Love from Jenny. Jenny, welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Let's see. Jay Spector, why is Jacob Martin getting reps over Huff, Johnson, and Coleman? He's brutal. Yeah, I haven't seen him make an impact yet. It was great to see Bryce Huff be active. So hashtag progress, of course. But I think a lot of people said money. Hopefully that's not a factor. Again, they paid him some decent money in free agency, but I'm hoping you're just playing the best guys. So I really hope so. Hawk, want to give a shout out to Michael Carter having 2 or 3 huge blocks for Brees. Dude looked like Mike Alstott out there. I love it. Yeah. Michael Carter is a selfless dude, cares about the team. You love that. Again, he didn't have as much effectiveness from a running perspective, but he did make other impacts in the game. Great comment, Hawk. That was not brought up yet. Colorado's last hope. Wake up. These wins are a fluke. Watch him not show up against Miami next week. Been watching this team for the last decade. Don't believe the hype. Colorado's last hope, apparently. If that's a hope you want to have, I live in a different life. That I'm going to enjoy the wins when they come. Call them flukes, call them whatever you want. They won 2 games, and they won them early in the season for a long time, and for the first time in a long time, and I'm all about it. Let's go, Dark Soldier. Crew! Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. Love it. Let's see. Ooh, AC, I love the sexiness of this take. If the Jets' offensive line wasn't nuked, we're definitely a playoff team. Hey, we'll see what else can happen, man. I've got hope. I've got faith. Let's keep going here. Split the division games. I'd like that idea. Win any division games. That'd be a progress. And the good thing is that there's 6 division games, of course, 2 against Patriots, 2 against Dolphins, and 2 against the Bills. And the first 3 that they're all going to play, 1 of each, are all at home. So you got to love that. And that could potentially set you up to make some noise. So we got to kind of see what happens there. I love that quote. I've heard it before. The Lord PT 69. Luck is when hard work meets opportunity. I'll take that, baby. Boy Green, shout out Ava. Ava, welcome. Welcome as well as we're wrapping up here. Again, final few comments. Let's see. MC2 is one of our best defenders. It makes a secondary solid AF. Yeah, he had a couple of tough moments, but overall he was great. Again, the tipped interception is what ultimately helped us win the game. So let's go to Chris K the 5th. Didn't get to lock in much. I did see Huff disrupting some players early, but was there a big change to whole defensive line rotation situation? What were the snap counts looking like for our big names? I don't believe all those numbers are out yet, Chris. From the information I have here, the snap count is not available yet. We should know that tomorrow. We will be on live tomorrow, so make sure you guys pencil that in. Again, every Monday with Will Parkinson. That comes about an hour after the Robert Saleh presser. So when the Robert Saleh presser starts, it's about an hour after that. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll be live every Monday. So see us tomorrow again on YouTube for that. Let's see. Can we just clone ABT and have him play every position on the offensive line? I mean, he's about damn near it. This is his 3rd different position he's starting on the Jets offensive line. Left tackle, left guard, right guard. Again, there's only so many more as well. Roger, what are our chances next week? I give us a really good chance, especially with the quarterback situation. I would imagine Tua's not going to play. I'm not a doctor. I haven't talked to my Dolphins people yet this week. I would imagine it's Teddy Bridgewater, and you're telling me Teddy Bridgewater versus our defense, so let's see what happens. The Dolphins' defense is really good. Brian Flores isn't there anymore, so we'll see how good they are. They got talented weapons, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, but I think we've got a pretty good chance. Plus, we're at home. We'll see what happens. Let me keep going here. All right, Richard Martinez. How many wins do you think we need in our division for the playoff? 3-3? Maybe you could squint with 2-4, but again, 3-3 would be great. It's going to be tough. Buffalo, you have to assume those are 2 losses, unless you can make something happen. Again, the Bills aren't an impenetrable beast. They nearly lost to Baltimore today, but they are a Super Bowl contender. The Patriots are the Patriots. So you have to factor that in. Historically speaking, the Dolphins are really good, but 2-4, 3-3 could be enough to get you into the playoffs. Lauren, I sure look forward to the after game here and all you do. Thanks, Lauren. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, pal. Thanks for your support. I love doing this. This is my favorite. Let's go to that one too. Tyler Gordon, the 4th quarter managing the clock while sealing the deal is something the Jets haven't done in a long time. Yeah, it happened in the Browns game when they took that lead in that one. And then also this one as well of like managing it. Again, the Jets run the clock down, hit the timeout. Like, again, a lot of importance there. And then they got the job done. Billy Hopper, Zach Wilson looked good. Rob Power, Zach showed the team that he can make a game-winning drive. Huge turning point for this team. Again, they believe. And finally, Jay Spector needs to stop these penalties, really take the next step. We're giving up 20 points this year after the defensive penalties. All right, everybody. Love the comments. Love the support. You guys are freaking amazing. Enjoy your Victory Monday tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of tonight and enjoy this win. Enjoy this dub. We are here every single post-game show about 2 hours after every game right here on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page, my YouTube channel, and my Twitter account. Show your support whether you're watching live or after the fact. Like the video. Hit subscribe down below. We love you, everybody. You guys are spectacular. We'll be back on here live tomorrow with Will Parkinson shortly after the Robert Saleh press conference in the early afternoon window, so keep an eye out for that. We'll see you then for a Victory Monday. Let's ride, baby. Woohoo! Jets are 2-2. And we'll get you ready for week 5 throughout the week against the Miami Dolphins. Peace out, everybody. God